Hi guys, so today we're going to go ahead and make my vegan chili, and to start off we're going to use 4 canned beans. Now you can use beans that are not canned, but this is just an easier way of doing it. But the beans that I chose to use are white beans, black beans, pinto beans, and garbanzo beans. You can use whichever beans you prefer, whatever you think would taste better. These are the ones I prefer. So these are all 1 can beans, about I think like 10 ounces each can. And then I used a canned tomato. So these are stewed tomatoes, and the ones I get are chopped, and then there's also chili in it. There's different kinds you can get. You can also use fresh tomatoes if you'd like. I sometimes mix both. And then a can of corn, so whatever corn you like, you can do that. It's again 10 ounces, it's like 1 can. Chorizo, 1 whole package. It's soy chorizo actually. Veggies I'm using is a red bell pepper, a whole medium onion, 1 package of mushrooms, 1 jalapeno, 1 whole garlic minced. So those are everything that I'm gonna go ahead and use, and you're gonna just watch me while I do it so you guys will see. It's very easy. So then you're going to need a pot. I'm using a large Teflon pot with a lid, and the Teflon basically is like a non-stick pot, so you can use whatever is more convenient to you, but since I'm not using oil, I'm using Teflon so nothing sticks to the bottom. And then the reason you need the lid is so you can, after you cook it, you just close it and let it steam. So then you're going to go ahead and chop up your jalapeno, and make sure again to be careful that you don't hurt yourself. Make sure to de-seed it to make it less spicy, and also to use gloves if need be. I've told you guys this before, but anyway, make sure you wash your hands before you touch your face and all that stuff. Then you're going to go ahead and get 1 whole garlic and mince it. So peel it and then mince it. I'm using that little mincer, and I got that from IKEA. Then you're going to take the package of chorizo and go ahead and remove it out of the package, and I recommend you putting it in a bowl so it looks basically like, kind of like ground beef when you take it out. So take it out of the casing, and go ahead and put it in a bowl, and you can like mix it up a little bit so it gets easier to mix in with the beans. So then you're going to go ahead and put everything into the pot. So basically you go ahead and clean the cans, the lids of the cans. I usually do. And then go ahead and open the cans and then put the beans inside. Now I went ahead and took out all the beans and put them in a bowl prior and then mixed them. So one thing you can do with the corn is you can actually barbecue the corn first before you put it in. In this case I went ahead and just added it into the mixture, but you know what I normally do is I have this little it looks like a frying pan, but it's like a grill one where I can just put stuff on there and barbecue it. You guys will see it later. I'm going to use it for some of the other vegetables, but basically what I do is I go ahead and cook the corn. It's just a can of corn. I drain it so there's no water in there, and I go ahead and put it on the little grill thing that I have, and I grill it so it's like a little bit blackened corn, and then I mix it into that. So you can do it that way, or you can just put it straight out the can. Either way it tastes good. Depends if you like that burnt flavor, then you can go ahead and do that. So basically, so you put all 4 cans of the beans. You're just mixing everything, and the heat is not on yet. You're just going ahead and mixing everything. So 4 cans of beans, you're going to go ahead and add the corn, then the can of tomatoes. They're chopped, and then the tomatoes I was using is basically tomatoes with chili. So they're already chopped, and then that one has juice with it. That's fine. You can leave it in there. It will all boil down, so the consistency will be thick, stew-like, not really a soup at all. Actually, it'll just be more like a stew-like. So it's a really thick and hearty kind of chili. So anyway, so then I'm going to go ahead and put like the tomatoes, as I said, and you can also put fresh tomatoes if you prefer, or you can mix it. Sometimes I do both, or you can even, when I was saying like how I barbecue the corn, you can also barbecue tomatoes, like the mini like grape tomatoes or the cherry tomatoes. You can go ahead and barbecue those and then put them in there. It gives it an extra kick, whatever you prefer basically. So then I go ahead and add the garlic and also the jalapeno. So you're going to go ahead and mix that in there. So again, I use the whole garlic, so the whole thing. I basically peeled it and minced it, as I told you guys prior. So I will go ahead and mix that in there. I also mix 1 whole jalapeno. I de-seeded it, so there's no seeds in there. Again, be careful when you're working with jalapenos. It's really spicy. Don't get it in your eyes or anything like that. So I chopped it up, and then I put in there. So after that, you just mix everything, and then I add the chorizo. So this is a soy chorizo. It is a vegan recipe. So but the consistency of it, I get it from Trader Joe's, and it looks like ground beef, but it's not, obviously, and it has a lot of flavor. So a lot of my flavor comes from that chorizo because it's already like has a lot of flavors in there, has smoky flavors in there. So that's gonna add a lot of flavor into this chili. If you're not gonna use that, you can obviously add more spices. Some people like to add brown sugar to chili if you want it to be a little bit on the barbecue-y side kind of tasting. You can add barbecue sauce if you want it to be tasting like that. If you want it to be more spicy, you can always add cayenne pepper, your own spices, whatever you think of. But it does have flavor. Even if you don't put the chorizo in there, I have made it without it. It still tastes good with the things that I'm putting in there. But again, you can always alter the recipe. It's not like set in stone. So go ahead and mix everything in there. Once you mix everything in there, you're going to go ahead and close the lid on, and then you're going to put it on a medium heat and then let it cook. And again, don't put it on a high heat because you'll burn it. You're not using any oils in there, but there is water from the corn, because the corn is like, when you get out of the can, even if you drain it, it still has a little bit of waterness to it. The beans all have a little bit of like juice to them, I guess, into the can. Also, the tomato has a sauce. If you wanted to, you can add more tomato sauce, but and the chorizo does have oil in there, so the flavor of it is like a oily flavor. So like not oily flavor, sorry. It has oil in there, so it helps it with the cooking. But again, put it on low medium medium heat, and let it all simmer and cook through really well. So these ingredients are pretty much cooked anyways. It's not like they're raw. But what that does is it just combines all the ingredients when you put the lid on and you let it steam, and it takes down the water. So at the end, it's going to look like a creamy stew. So you guys have seen, I'm sure you guys have seen chili before, and it's going to have that consistency. The longer you leave it, the more softer it gets, and the beans get more broken down. If you want the beans not to break down as much, then you don't leave it as long. I like to leave it in pretty long, until it basically looks like a mixed pot of like everything. Like you can't really tell what beans are what anyway. So once I mix it really well, you're going to see I'm going to put the lid on it and I'm going to let it cook. And then while that's cooking, then I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of the stuff together. I did previously make guacamole, and I did post that video up. I will put a link in this description below for you guys so you guys can see my guacamole recipe. But basically what I like to do is I like to pre-make some guacamole and then make my chili, because I like to top it with guacamole or whatever you guys want to top it with. You can always top chili with raw onions, like chopped onions, or you can, you know, like grilled vegetables, which I'm going to do as well. And then you can also put like sour cream, depends on what you're making. Obviously, I'm making a vegan recipe, so guacamole was the best thing for me to be doing to add to it. And then also like the raw vegetables that I'm adding to it. And then you can also obviously buy vegan cheese if you really want a cheese consistency in there. But if you're not vegan, then you could go ahead and put some cheese. So these are the vegetables that I'm going to grill on that. That's my little frying pan that has the grill markings. So there's red bell pepper, is one of my favorite peppers, and also some onions. I did go ahead and cut them. I think it's called like julienne style. It's like thin and long. I also added some mushrooms. Whatever vegetable is your choice, it's up to you. So I'm basically gonna grill all these vegetables, and then I'm gonna put them on the side to cool off, because this is gonna be a topper for my chili. So I usually make different things like this that go with my chili. And then I'm also going to barbecue some corn. So you're going to see that in the next one right there. So this is just white corn I got from Trader Joe's, and I'm using my grill. As you can see, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's like grill markings on that frying pan. So it's like a dish where it's okay. It's not going to burn if I don't put like oil and stuff. So now what I'm doing is I'm basically like, you shouldn't be doing this with your hand. You should use tongs if you have them, or a fork or something else. But basically I'm just gently flipping the corn so it gets barbecued on each side. So this is how my chili looks at the end, pretty much, when it's done. So there you go, there's the chili done, and you can see the steam coming off of it. And then that's my veg that I'm going to go ahead and put on top of it. And then you can put some raw onions if you like. Also, that's the grilled onions, whatever you prefer, obviously. But you can also put, because usually if you go get chili somewhere, they usually offer like whatever toppings you want to put. Everybody has different favorite toppings. But that's the guacamole that I made. So it's fresh guacamole. It's a very creamy consistency because I do put it in the food processor. Again, I will link the recipe below so you guys can go follow that if you want to make that as well. And yeah, if you want, you guys could put on top of it some yogurt, like plain yogurt, like Greek yogurt or something like that. Whatever you guys, this is a vegan recipe again, so it's not going to have all that in there. So that's the raw onions to top it off with, and that's some lime juice that I squeezed. I love lime. So normally with chilies, people don't normally put lime, but I do. I put lime in everything, so that's why I did that. And that's my finished product, and I put some chips on there. Those are some quinoa chips, and there's also some cilantro that I did go ahead and rinse, and you can add that on top as well. So that's my finished chili and the barbecued corn. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Bye.